Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Elite Minds podcast. Today, I'm excited. I have a guest on. Her name is Courtney. She's a real estate agent. Are you in Arizona?
Phoenix, yeah.
Phoenix. Okay. I didn't even think to ask you that. So, yay. She's in my backyard. Are you residential real estate?
Yes, we actually have a real estate company. I myself don't do any production, but our company, our team does.
That's amazing. Well, I was so glad that you agreed to get on the podcast and chat. Hard shit, right? I mean, we all have it, some of it. And I love to try to find love. That's probably terrible. I love to find people with a fucked up life.
Oh, good.
I love to talk with women or dads. I'm trying to get a couple dads on that have been through hard stuff that are raising kids now, because I think it's a whole kind of different perspective, right? So, I mean, I would love for you to share a bit of your story. I know you told me here, and it's pretty a lot. It's a lot, right? But I mean, here you are thriving and raising kids and having a good time. So it is possible to live out.
It is possible. And kind of like we talked about before, my past doesn't define me, and that it's not something that we even talk about, but there is a part of it that molds you into who you are. And I have had some sexual assault trauma in my past from somebody that I know, like, and trusted, and as a teenager, and that can truly mess you up. But I had a pretty great mother, and so she walked me through that, which I'm grateful for. There was a lot of death. My grandpa died on my birthday, and grandma died on Christmas, and but everybody has death, a sibling, and we've had a lot of trauma in our past. I don't know how much you want me to go into, but
whatever you're comfortable with. I like to do the show because everyone has a great message that some way, somehow can help somebody else. And that's really what I love to share. So whatever you're comfortable sharing that you think is helpful and gives perspective, I'm happy to take on and hold space for you.
Well, thank you. And here's my perspective on anything for anybody that gives a shit about it is we are not defined by our trauma. We are not defined by anything that happened to us. How we handle it, how we deal with it, and how we suck it up and move on. Now, I'm not saying ignore it, but I'm saying deal with it and move on.
Yeah, you can't.
That's how we raise our children. I have a 22-year-old who's getting ready to graduate from college very, very soon, and I have a 19-year-old who just finished his first year of college in Europe. So when we dropped him off at the airport, where a lot of moms were able to walk their freshmen into their dorm and make their beds, we dropped ours off at security because we couldn't go any farther, and that was very challenging. But no,
real quick. He took his first year, freshman year, he's over. Usually they don't let you go abroad till sophomore.
As he was a Florida State student, and Florida State students let you, as a freshman, go to one of their 4 campuses they have around the world. And he's a little adventurer, and he went to Spain, and now he's doing summer school in Italy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But the point in kind of suck it up is we have a mentality of you get 24 hours in our family. That the youngest, who's at Florida State via Spain and Italy, he at 3 weeks old had his first heart surgery. And we didn't know, was he going to live or was he going to die? We don't know. So we worked through that. At 10, he had 2 more heart surgeries. 2 months before he moved to Italy to go to his freshman year, moved to Spain, he had his 4th heart surgery.
Wow.
And that was very hard. And what we said every single time was, well, you got 24 hours to feel sorry for yourself. And then after those 24 hours, you're going to get up and you're going to start the process of healing and recovery and process and move forward.
Yeah. So how do you help them and lead them into, what do you do for them to teach them on how to get up and start healing? Like, do they have modalities? Did you give them mindset training? What have you done to help them foster that?
That's a great question. I will say, honestly, the way we fostered that was we allowed them to fail. And in fact, we encouraged them to fail. Nowadays, sadly, there's this generation of parents, and it's our fault, not the children's, that did not want their children to be hurt or in pain or sad or sorrow or left out or anything. And so they protected them and shielded them. And now we have a group of young adults who don't understand that you can fail and not be a failure, that you can fail, figure out how to overcome and not do it again, and then be more proud of yourself.
Right.
We don't have that now. And I think the way we were able to have our children walk through their traumas, not alone, absolutely not, but without the feeling sorry for themselves, without the I'm the victim mentality, like I can't do this, was because at a very young age, they failed. They never got participation trophies. When they were given those, we threw them away. We don't do that. You don't get an award for participating. At the bare minimum of life, participate. That's the bare minimum requirement. Show up.
Yeah, like I would tell my kids, I'm like, you don't have to love it and do it again, but if you sign up and take someone else's spot, you're finishing. You're finishing.
And I love that you added take someone else's spot. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. So I appreciate that you said that.
Yeah, it's so important. And it bit me in the ass because I ended up staying on the wrestling boosters, even when my kid wasn't in high school anymore, or even on the boosters.
Hey, but if you're going to be a part of a sport, I raised a wrestler, my oldest, those I love. Mamas, get your boys in wrestling.
Yes. Yeah. My youngest son would hop football, wrestling. And you know how that goes. And then the other one was baseball, football. So it's like weight gain, drop it, weight gain, drop it, weight gain, drop it. You're like,
but it's only during the holiday season. Yeah. So just let's drop the weight during Thanksgiving and Christmas, by the way.
No, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that's amazing. So the oldest one, boy or girl, sorry.
He's a boy. He's my football player and wrestler. He plays football at a university in Chicago, and he's graduating in 6 days.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
And that's so fun. So you guys are going up there. They're having a big thing?
They're having a big thing. We're having a big thing. I'm very excited. And then he's staying in Chicago to work. Okay. And if anybody wants to listen to what I have to say, this is what I will tell you. When we were recruiting with him, so he's a senior, so 5 years ago, actually, the theme that the majority of the football coaches at the university level told us the biggest issue they have with the current teenager, late in life teenager, early 20s, was that they do not know how to fight their own battles. Mm. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from these coaches. And they would say, because the moms would write the emails to the math teacher when the math grade didn't go right, or the moms would write the emails to the principal, or the moms would do this, or the moms would do that. And what the coaches have found is that these kids don't even know how to fill out their own college applications. They don't know how to ask questions to the coach. They don't understand that when they go in and they were the starting receiver in high school, they're now third string behind 7 other people that are just as good and maybe even better. And they can't handle it because, again, I go back to they never learned how to fail without being a failure. So I see that as a parent of an adult child. And it's not too late in life to teach and instill this in your children. If your kids are already in junior high, high school, or even at the college level, or they don't have to go to college. By the way, you don't have to go to college.
Right.
Find something you like, do something. You don't have to go to college. But it's not too late. Have your children as a junior high schooler be with you when you're making your doctor appointments. Have them schedule the doctor appointments. Have them schedule the follow-up, because when they're 18, you can't. And yet parents still do. Yeah. So I worry for that generation, because I think this is a very brilliant generation. They understand that there's a great opportunity with social media to make money, great opportunity, but we need them to understand how to fail and fight their own battles and to realize they're not a failure.
Yeah, I totally am with you on all of that. And I have kids that are adult, 28, 26, 24, and I have 11-year-old twins that are getting ready to hop into junior high. So I'm like, got the little of these kids with the generations, some I remember, like my oldest daughter, she's 28. She didn't grow up with a cell phone till late. The twins, I think they got iPads when they were 3. Yeah. And that's mostly because we traveled so much driving in the motorhome. I just wanted them to have their own show. I got 6 hours on the road. They needed something. So, but Yeah, it's a very different raising the girls now. And sometimes I catch myself where I'm like, almost that do it for them mentality. And then I'm like, whoa, wait. But it's just because it seems to be the norm now. And I have to actually catch that versus try to be opposite, right? I mean, it's kind of it's interesting. It's learning for me as well. It's like relearning to parent the way like now to be opposite of the others that parent.
Absolutely.
Not look like a rebel as bad or like, wow, that mom's like, she doesn't care. Like,
listening to you, I found, and knowing you that I do, is you're a good parent and your children have turned out okay. But you still even justified to me, well, they got iPads so that I was on the road, they could be occupied. And it's so funny as a parent, like we had to justify why we gave our kids iPads.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with giving your kids iPads. Are they on it 8 hours a day? Or are they watching a movie while you're driving through the cornfield? Right?
Yeah. And I used to tell, I would get the dirty looks in the, restaurant. They'd be like, the older ladies looking at you like that. And I'm like, oh, this is for you, not me. I can listen to him scream and be just fine with my steak dinner. You won't like that.
I like it.
But yeah, because I keep trying to tell my daughter, the 28-year-old, she has a 2-year-old. And yes, I'm a grandma. So Everly will be 2 in July. And Mercedes is like, well, I'm thinking maybe getting her a tablet, but I don't want to be that mom. I'm like, you need all the sanity you can get if that's what it takes but like you said, it's a matter of what are they doing with it? How long are they on it? And what are you using it for? If you're using it to substitute your parenting, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
I mean, yeah, I get you. I'm still just very excited that you get to go off to graduation soon. That's so fun. My youngest son graduated ASU a year and a half ago. He didn't want to do a thing. I don't even know if they were doing a thing yet. He graduated in August 21. So I don't remember, but I made him get the cap and gown. We did photos and a party, but I didn't go to the big ceremony thing. I don't remember. I know he didn't care. So probably could have been.
So fun. And I think it was during COVID. That's too bad, but I'm glad that he got the party and all of that. Yeah. My child doesn't want a party. He just wants to graduate and not ever have to write another paper again.
That's exactly what Kobe said. He's like, I wouldn't have stayed if I knew it was all essays.
I think you might have been warned, but don't worry about it. It's all right. You did it. Good job, buddy.
And Kobe especially, he's like, I didn't even need it. Because he's a police officer. He always knew he wanted to be a police officer, but he got the degree. He's like, well, I have a full ride. I'll just get the degree because it's free.
Good on him.
He's like, I didn't need essays.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's awesome.
Uh-huh.
What's the younger one studying?
Finance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What's he want to do with that?
I have no idea. I mean, he's 19 and traveling the world right now, so I don't think he even knows what he wants to do with it. I'm sure at some point he and his brother will start a business, and I hope to God repay his parents for the life that they have.
His parents. But, yeah. That's amazing. So your boys are 3 years apart?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, mine are 2. How were they as like high school pals and friends? I know it was like the weird age gap, but were they good?
So, no, and it was rough because for so many years, the youngest was in and out of the hospital. And what happens is then the oldest one, though you give them as much attention and love as you can, they don't understand, rightfully so, that just because I'm paying this attention to Jackson, because I have to get him to the hospital, etc., doesn't mean I love you any less, kiddo. Just I have to do this. So they didn't super like each other until my oldest son has the best friends, and those best friends loved on my youngest son, and they were the greatest big brother, and it was fantastic. But now as adults, they are the best of friends, and it warms our heart. And it takes a minute, they have to come into their own. And that's one thing I will tell parents: don't push it. They will come into their own, and their relationship has to be founded on their relationship, not us saying, I need you to be nice to your brother. I need you to take your brother out to get ice cream. I need you to play. Yes, right. It's nice to teach them how to do those things and be a giving, kind human, but their relationship will come on their own time outside of you, and you want that, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you, but as you're speaking it, I'm like, yes. Damn it, Susie. Because I did just that with the boys. And now that they're adults, they do. It does warm my heart when I hear them chatting, and I didn't like have to foster that, because the older brother's in the military, so he's not here always.
Oh,
So
wow.
to know that they like, he'll call his bro and be like, "Oh, what happened?" They tell each other stories. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute, because I didn't make you call your brother. I love that. But my twins, the twin girls, they're not like best buddies like you'd think. We all have this dream of, oh my God, they're going to be each other's best friend. They aren't. And you're right. I mean, and sometimes I'm like, why are you friends?
Because they're 11 and they're figuring out who they are, right? Yeah.
I know. So I'm so glad you reminded me that, okay. I do make sure that they are very respectful to each other. Like, I will not tolerate that sort of bullshit. Like, you don't have to hang out every day, be pals. And I want you to have, and it's funny too that I even do this sometimes, because I made certain they had separate identities. I never put them in the same classroom. I didn't dress them alike. On occasion, like Christmas or something, we do similar, but we wouldn't do exact. I always made them keep a separate identity. And now here I am like, why aren't you best friends? Duh, Mom. Duh.
It's tough. The whole parenting thing is tough. And then, you have the keeping up with the Joneses and everything. Everybody puts their highlight reel on social media. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is, you see these parents are posting, oh, my kid got an A. Oh, my kid got the winning touchdown. Okay. Did your kid understand that you're still going to love them regardless if they got the A or the C? Did the kid that worked his booty off, that only got the C, but worked as hard, if not harder, than the kid that got the A, does that kid know that he's just as worthy? And we're going to go take you out to ice cream because we celebrate the effort, not the result?
Yeah.
I wish so bad that was illegal on social media. That would stop, for the sake of, one, I'm not going to get praised only if I get the touchdown, the home run, or the A.
Right.
But my mama, my daddy, they see my effort, and that effort is what needs to be rewarded.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want them to understand that. Yeah, no matter what. But my situation was interesting growing up, because grades and stuff came easy to me versus my brother. So my brother got super rewarded, because for him to get a C, it was like me just shitting an A. I'm like, what the hell?
And they celebrate.
Yeah. So he always I remember they'd have Hot Wheels lined up. And for each C and above, he could pick Hot Wheels. And I'm like, but look at mine. I got A's and B's. Oh yeah, that's easy, Susie. I expect that. I'm like, oh, I don't get a Hot Wheel.
Isn't that interesting? So like, as we're thinking this, how would you have wanted them to, would you have wanted that?
For them to reward me as well? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because like you said, effort. They even said it themselves. They're like, it took him just as much effort to get a C as it did you an A. Great. We put in the same effort. He gets a fucking Hot Wheel. Why don't I?
Okay. Yeah.
I still put in the effort. I still did what I needed to do.
Right. Yeah. That's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah. But later my mom would do things later. So then it was more like, she would put dollar amounts on the grade. But then that's kind of opposite, because you're like, well, if it takes the same amount of effort, he's never going to get the $100 A. We know that.
I would have worked for an A if I was getting $100 for an A.
He did not care.
Oh my gosh. We all have our wants. He wanted the Hot Wheels that cost $2 versus the $100. That's fine.
Oh my God. I know. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a biological brother. He just beat blood cancer. He just had a blood transfusion. He lives in Florida, and he's a badass. And I had a stepbrother that passed away. A tough situation. And another brother lives in Chicago, and a sister in Eastern Washington.
Nice. So the brother that's in Chicago, will he get to hang out with your son?
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And that was a mixed family. That was an interesting grow up, but here we are.
Is that a step brother or like a half brother? I don't know.
They're all step, other than the one in Florida who just beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you then real quick, because I love that you just are like matter of fact with your opinions, and I love that. How do you feel when people say half brother or half sister? Is it weird? Like, why do you need to say that?
I think that is a great question. I hate all of it. I hate the steps. I haven't had a biological dad. He passed away the weekend that my son won sectionals at wrestling to go to state. Uh,
Oh,
he was a great grandpa, terrible dad. Loved the man, terrible dad, great grandpa. My stepfather married my mother when I was 9 and raised me, and he was a fantastic dad. And so I think in the eyes of the public, by calling him a stepdad, he becomes less.
I
And
agree.
he wasn't. He was fantastic. I mean, he's still alive today. I shouldn't say was. Thank
Yeah.
Lord willing. So I struggle because I love my stepbrothers like I love my biological brother.
Yeah.
It's rough. I understand why people do it, and maybe they feel like there's a need. Like out of respect, I have to say half in this, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I didn't think a whole lot about it, but my the kids, have these. So I never say that. It's just to me it doesn't seem relevant. Like your siblings, that's what it is. That's your sister, your brother, right? But my son, he said he was chatting with some guys at work, and they're like, "Oh, he had said something about having 11-year-old sisters." And they're like, "What? Like, how old are you? You're 30, you're 26, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Why doesn't?" So of course it comes out, "Oh, well, mom remarried." And, "Oh, so you have half sisters." He's like, "What? What is that?"
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like no, she's a whole human. I don't know what you're saying right now.
But that's a testament to you that he was like, wait, what? That he was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's like, "What the hell does that mean?" And they came home, and I'm like, yeah, some people just really have to put labels. They just love
really
it.
have to. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
But you're right.
That's it.
It's like a less than. It's like I would own my stepdad if he was an ass. You're like, that's my stepdad. It's kind of like you don't get a choice.
Right. It does no reflection on me. There's no blood there.
Yes. It's my stepson. Sorry.
He didn't go to college. Oh wait, that's okay.
Oh wait, that's okay. Oh my gosh. What? So what got you all the stuff that you've been through, and like you only touched on like a hair of what you've been through personally, you as a human. What drove you most into the success and where you are with like career and all of that? Do you think it played a big part? Not so much.
I think everything plays a part if you let it. I think we moved almost every year until I was, I think, 8th grade. So I remember going to a new school, and you're going to only be there a year. So you're not going to become besties and then have your heart broken and move somewhere else. So I remember walking in every day, first day of school. I'm like, who am I going to be this time? All right, well, I'm going to be a stoner. No, I didn't do drugs, but you understand my point. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to be a jock. All right, I'm going to be in the band. All right, now I'm going to be academic. And every year I would just come up with this who I was going to be. And then after a while, I'm like, well, I'm just going to try to be who I am. And because of that, I figured out who I was and who I wanted to be. And it was two people. It was, I know I either want to be a mom or I'm going to go and I'm going to be a business executive. I know I can't be both to the extreme level in which I want to be it.
Okay.
So I chose mom first because work-life balance is a myth.
I agree.
There is no such thing as a work-life balance unless you're going to do everything half-assed.
Yeah.
That's how you want to do it. You be you.
The part of my work-life balance is bringing my daughters into my work.
And now we've learned that's called work-life integration. We are integrating our personal life into work, but you're incorporating your children so that they're also learning how to build a business, build a career, keep up with their commitments, while also seeing mom or dad do that exact same thing while keeping up with mom and dad's commitments as well. And I think that's imperative. And so for we got married, we had kids, and I focused on the kids. And we would every day, every morning before school, whether they had a 0 hour or a 7 o'clock hour, and we sat as a family, we had a full breakfast. So we started our day together every day, and it was exhausting. I hated it. I can't cook. It wasn't good. They were pissed off half the time because no phones, no this. But it's one of the things they thank us for the most was because we started our day making eye contact. I love you. You good? How are you? What's up?
Yeah.
And so then once they get older, and my husband would work, and we would, as we're building our business, because we own a real estate company, and we've always done, we've slowly but surely built it. But we would, he would come home at 7. We would hang out with and do stuff with the kids until 9 or 10. And then we would go to the office. We had another room that they had beds in, kind of like how you incorporate your daughters.
Okay.
And they would sleep. But we had spent family time and we had started the day eating. And then as they got older and older and they don't want you as much, and there's really not as much opportunity to spend time with them if they're normal, for being honest.
Yeah.
So then we switched into, okay, now we're going hyper work mode. And then the minute that last one went to college, we sobbed. Obviously, it was sad dropping off the security. It was very, very sad. We also got on a plane, and my husband and I went to Disneyland for 2 days. Which
oh my God, that's so fun.
You think it would be. And then I'm like, we're at Disneyland with a bunch of kids, and I just left my kids, and I'm sad, so I'm going to go surround myself with other
I just sent mine to Spain.
Slow down. And they don't really serve alcohol at Disneyland. Like, this was stupid. You
have to go across the street to the, what is it? Well, did you go to Disney World or Disneyland?
Land.
Yeah, you got to go over.
Yeah.
House of Adventure. Is that where they have the booze?
Yeah, and it's like $700 for a beer, but it's worth it. You know how it goes. But
not to mention it was $400 for the hopper pass.
For us to just sit on our ass and but whatever, it's fine. It's fine. But now that they're gone, now we're doing the full on let's go. And it was because at a young age I got to know who I was. And so that's my recommendation to anybody. Get to know who you are. And then once you know who you are, own it. Don't make apologies for it unless you're an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't apologize for who you are. You get one life. One. And it goes by like that. I'm 50 years old. I never thought I would be 50 this fast. It goes by fast, right?
Yeah, I just turned 49 in March. So yeah, I totally get that. I want to go back really fast. I wanted to ask you when you were talking about moving around so much elementary. Well, there's two questions. First, how did you know you were going to move every year?
My dad, when my mom was still married to my dad, he was one of the executive of a construction company, it's called Thousand Trails. And they would go and build different camping reserves all throughout the coast. And he would go and build a reserve and then move and go build another reserve. So we just knew.
Got you. Okay. So do you feel like it was like a blessing or a curse because you did get the opportunity to try on all these different identities?
You're going to make me cry. So it was both. It was a blessing because I truly felt like I had an incredible childhood because it was hard. It was shitty. I didn't care because it was just so exciting. And I was always somebody different. So that does sound like a psychologist's dream, right? Like I'm a major hot mess. The curse was I never made rooted friends. I never had, my first best friend, her name was Guerrero Triplet. I didn't have one until junior high.
Yeah.
And I still moved in junior high and then finally in high school, but I never allowed myself to have deep, deep, dark friends until probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
And my kids have been in the same school district, right, for about 10 years. And I realized, oh, we're not moving them. I should probably get to know these moms. And I should probably let them know who the real me is, not the stoner or the jock or the this or
yeah, you're like, so whatever I pick when I enter this room right now is what I'm going to have to stay with. Pick wisely.
Yeah. It was very hard. That was very hard to, and I always thought, and this is nothing against women because I am one. I love them, but they would drive me crazy. I'm like, oh my God, you guys complain all the time. Suck it up. Let's go. We got shit to do. Come on, let's go.
That or they're mean. A lot of them are mean.
They're mean. They're so mean. Girls are mean, right? That's so true. So you'd rather be in a room with men. And then they're
we talked today in our one of our meetings, one of my women's groups we were at. They're like, mean girls just grow up. They don't grow out of it. They're still out there.
It's so true. So, but now I gotta say, and what makes me cry is I have this amazing group of women in my life, and their children are still best friends with my son, and it's incredible. You don't need a lot of them. You just need a few. Yep. You need a few that will tell you the truth, that will love you through it. They will love you despite of who you are, right? And that's incredible. And people that will love your children for who your children are.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. That's one thing I didn't do. I didn't Well, not true. With the wrestling moms I did, we were very tight knit for about 4 years. But then, my kid graduate, another one graduate, everyone just kind of, goes about. But now being in all the women groups and things, I've got some really good, close besties. But we came together because of business, not really because of our children. So when we get together, I can count on them for anything for sure, but we also do discuss like the business bestie stuff. So we like mini mastermind and stuff like that. Do you have that as well? Do you have like your business besties?
I have, there's two that are coming to my mind right now that are business owners and are just badass. And I love being with them to talk business and strategy and systems. And then you have the other friends that are more the friends, you understand. And my mom told me you need to have, there's friends that fit different needs. What is your need? What is your season? And you have those people. And that I highly encourage people to find that.
Yeah.
And what else do you? You raised a police officer. You raised a soldier. I mean, that's incredible. Good on you. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I was telling the girl I chatted with earlier, I'm like, sometimes you look at your kids and you're like, who raised you? And it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Like when they're little, you're like, I don't know who's raising
them. That was your dad. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's funny because the twins, again, I remarried. So I used to, which was a terrible thing to say, but I didn't think when I met him, we'd actually, have twins and children and have a life, be together for 15 years now. But I used to say stuff like, when we were dating, I'm like, what I can produce. Mine are pretty and they're smart. If anything else comes out of me, that's you. And then when I got pregnant, I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, man. I'm really
hope I didn't think that, man.
It was a terrible thing to say.
I mean, but you didn't say anything that wasn't factual. So, okay, it's all right.
You're pretty and smart. So, I mean, I'm not sad. But yeah, I would. I'm like, anything comes out wrong, that's your side. On you. It's so funny. But yeah, no, I love it. Are you excited for the path the boys have taken?
We raised them to be incredibly independent. I think you can tell by some of the things we've said. We let them fail. We let them make their own decisions, not make their own decisions without guidance. Let's be clear. Sure. It wasn't a free for all, go live your life. But we allowed them to feel confident enough to decide what they were going to do and know that if it was the wrong decision, they would figure out how to change course. Okay. And I do love that. And my oldest son, we offered, and it was wrong of us, we offered our oldest son an opportunity to come back and integrate and come into our company. And he told us no. And he said, if I do that, I will be comfortable. And I don't want to be comfortable. I want to be challenged. And he said to me 4 weeks ago, I still remember because I can still cry. It's that fresh. He said to me, I want to fail in Chicago and figure it out on my own. Aww. And I thought, okay, you're right. And I apologize that I actually offered for you to come back because that was not in your best interest. It was in my best. It was
for you. Yeah, it was totally for you. You're like, I just want to keep them all. Like I always tell everybody, if they all lived at home, I would still be fine with it.
I mean, you love your kids so much, it hurts. And that's why when you allow them to leave and fail and be a police officer and be in the military, which is scary, but it's the right thing for them because, hey, man, it's their life. We are giving them for 18 years. And I know people hate it when I say that, but it is true. That doesn't mean now the door's shut. It just means it's your turn, dude. It's your turn.
Yeah. And you hope in that 18 years, the goal is you're supposed to raise them so they can make the best decisions.
That's kind of the goal.
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the youngest is just living his best life. He learned at an early age. He's fine with his heart, but he came to terms with death early. And he came to terms with the fact that you get one life. So what are we going to do? Are we just going to sit around? Or are we just going to take every opportunity? And that kid just takes every opportunity.
So he's truly living.
Oh, he's truly living. And sometimes where his dad and I, we just, like he called, he was, hey, do you guys care if I go to South Africa on an African safari? We're like, well, yeah, we care, but thank you for letting us know, but you're still doing it, right? Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're like, okay. I mean, thanks for telling me.
Right. Okay.
That's what my son said, Kobe, when I thought I would worry more when he took the field, mostly Kobe over Ryan. Ryan in the military, he's not been thrown into anything crazy yet. I mean, he does wild, crazy shit. Like, I'm like, please stop sending me photos of you hanging off a 200-foot cliff. I would really appreciate not getting that one. So he does Marine mountain warfare training. So they teach you how to, climb a cliff to do assaults and things like that. I'm like, don't send mom that one.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And with Kobe, it was more, you just worry like what's out there for the day. And I don't want to say when I think about my boys and my worry, it's not physical, it's their mental.
Yeah.
And Kobe said to me, he's like, Mom, he's like, again, there was some physical, but he goes, Mom, I don't know why you moms always worry about us. Like, you raised us, so we know what to do. You raised us to be who we are and how we are with your mindset. And we learned our job. And remember, Mom, we don't want to die. Like, we don't want to die either. So just be assured that when I'm out there on my job, I'm going to do everything I freaking can to not die.
Right. I mean, so I say like you and I have very similar philosophies on raising our children, and they've come into their own, and it's very scary. And sometimes if they were just worked at a desk in our back house, we would have better nights of sleep, but then we would feel so guilty about it.
Yeah.
That they are out living their life.
Yeah. And like I said, that's one of the greatest things as a mom you could ever hear. Like, when the boys are around, they're chatting and they're like, but I love my job. I don't care if their job would have been picking up dog shit or making clicks. The fact that they're like, I love what I do. Like, I love it. I'm like, done. Success. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Yes. Don't care. I'm glad you love it. That's
it. Absolutely.
Like, tap out. Yay.
Just call me every once in a while.
Yeah, just call me once in a while.
Yeah.
No. Oh my gosh. So then, since you're pretty much empty nesting, what do you and your husband do for, like, you said you're like full throttle on business, but you got to have some fun.
We do. And we're full on empty nesting. Like, we are empty nesting too much. But like, our alarms goes off at 4:30, 4:45. He's at the gym. I'm up. We go to where we do our thing, and then we grind, and we love it. And then we go out to dinner every single night, which is not good. It's not healthy, but I don't care. So I don't know how to cook. There's 3 things in our refrigerator right now: expired milk, expired eggs, and I don't know what the third is. Probably cherries for our bourbon. I'm not going to lie. So
I don't cook either.
Okay. So you get it. It's fantastic. It's just part of our budget. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to make the most of meeting people. We love the Ronald McDonald House because we lived at one for a long time in LA when our son was in the hospital. And so in a couple of weeks, we're going to go serve dinner to the Ronald McDonald House down here in Phoenix. We've done it before. It is our thing. So we spend a lot of time doing that. We just absolutely love them. And we love our job, not because of our bank account, but because of the choices it allows us. And those choices allow us to give it away. And that's all we want to do. We just want to give it away. And so that's what we're doing. So we're grinding, we're eating out, we're drinking bourbon, and we're giving it away.
I love that so much. Oh my God, so much. Okay, so wrapping up, I always like to ask this quick question. And I think it gets harder now when I chat with people that have had younger issues. But if you could give if your 20-year-old self was standing here right now, what couple pieces of advice could you give her?
The first thing, do not live in fear. Period. Ever. If you are still alive, tell me then one thing you have not survived through. You can't, because you're still here. It may have been painful, may have been ugly, may have hurt, but you did it.
Yeah.
So do not live in fear. The world is huge. Our country's huge. Our country's beautiful. Go see it. There's wonderful people in it. Don't live in fear. And then next, on top of that, is you can do hard things. I know that sounds cliche, but you can do it. Get off your ass. Don't live in fear and just do it. And who cares what anybody else thinks? Who cares? You get one life, man, and it's going to go by like that. So make sure you're doing what makes you in your heart happy. Don't be an asshole. That makes you in your heart happy. Do it. and who
Yeah,
cares
I
things.
love all of that. I think that's perfectly well said. And I feel like you already knew that. You gave yourself that advice long ago because you've, lived through all this and continue to go through. I love that you give back. I love how we can do a couple things with traumas and crazy shit, right? We can either live in it and be crappy and victim-y and sad and abusive and turn around and be that shit too. Or you can take it and do like you did. You're like, I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make it better for others. And I'm going to see this through. And I love that. And I just wish there were so many more people that had that mentality and that. And I mean, shoot, I guess shamelessly plug it, but that's why I do what I do, because I don't want the teenagers to grow into the 30, 40-year-old suicidal, ideated, human. I want them to have those strengths and those abilities to know you can do hard things and don't worry about fear. Like fear is good and fear can be bad if you let it be bad.
Amen. It can be crippling, but if fear's okay, it doesn't cripple you. You will beat it.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Good on you. Yep.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for being here. This was amazing.
Thank you for talking to me. It was fun.
You're welcome.
I like talking to people.
I know. I love talking to people. Like I could be here all day, but I don't know if anybody else wants to watch that long.
Well, your husband needs something printed, so you got to get off.
Totally fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Best of luck to you. I'm excited.